Couldn't help but to notice you've publicized multiple minor scuffles, fueled fire for both sides every time, and instigated numerous harassment campaigns. Now, being in a position of popularity, you could offload the blame to the children in the fanbase and avoid the dock on your reputation. What do you think? Alright, so I'm not sure what the title of this video is going to be, but I want to preface that it is purposefully provocative, accusative, and attention-grabbing, but it is not the only focus of the video. This is about the fanbase as a whole. So for those who don't know, Goose Works made a recent wave of concerning posts, and I'm not going to recite them because obviously they were never supposed to be public to begin with, where Goose was essentially reliving some old trauma and posting it in the form of lore about Jax. Now, something a lot of people don't know is way before Digital Circus had even released, Goose Works said that Jax is essentially a self-insert character, but really most of the characters embody some aspect of Goose Works and some flaw that she wants to bring attention to. Anyway, sometime later, some Redditors just found a podcast clip where Goose Works said that Jax and Pomni are basically the main characters, and some fans were not happy about this. And by some fans, I really just mean toxic Ragatha stans. I'm sure there were some people that were worried about the character development of other characters, but it's pretty clear who was primarily upset by this, especially since Goose Works' own response to this, which is what kicked off all of this, was specifically about Ragatha's character development. And Goose, of course, reminded people that yes, Ragatha is still getting character development, but by this point, these fans had already made up their mind. So, Goose Works got downvoted into oblivion about her own show, and then promptly deleted her Reddit account, which is probably the only good thing to come from this, because Reddit is a cesspit, and engaging on Reddit at all is always going to make your day worse. But don't think for a second that this is just people who are actually concerned with the show's writing. Nope, as is made very clear by this comment, this is just yet another offshoot of this stupid fan gang war between Jax and Ragatha fans, as well as stupid shipping wars and moral grandstanding about how Jax is a bad person. Yeah, that's kind of the point. And don't think this is an isolated event, because when Goose made a joke that Ragatha would only kiss specifically her friend, stupid Ragatha simps went to send death threats to that friend. Like, this community keeps blaming stupid, unintelligent children who don't understand stories for all of its problems, but it's very clear who's actually responsible for this. These are malicious attempts by awful people, not stupid kids who don't know better. And when this was at its peak, you had all these people who were acting like they're in the same boat as Ragatha, and they've been misrepresented as toxic people because they blew up once, and it's a double standard because the other people are just always been awful, which, for one thing, if a show is clearly depicting something as a toxic behavior and you relate to that, maybe, just maybe, you should reevaluate yourself and use that as an opportunity to improve instead of just sitting there and justifying that you've always been right the whole time. Then there's the whole double standard thing, which people also tried to make into a sexism thing, because of course they did. There is no double standard. These are two completely different characters with completely different reasons why people would or wouldn't like them, and nobody, at least normal people, don't base whether they do or don't like a character purely off of if they think they are morally in the right or not. And the real biggest reason why so many people like Jax versus anyone else is because he's just objectively a more entertaining character than Ragatha, and more intriguing as well. And I want to make it clear that when I say these people, I don't mean literally every single person who has traits like Ragatha or is a people pleaser or whatever. I've known a lot of people who are similar to her, and a lot of them actually do have other people's well-being at their heart. But unfortunately for just about all of them, they end up destroying themselves more than anyone else. So then the question I want to ask is, who even said that they hate Ragatha specifically because of the crash out? Because I watch a bunch of Digital Circus reactions, and I can't recall a single person that saw that specific scene and said, yeah, I dislike Ragatha now. Either they disliked Ragatha before that, or they didn't at all. Most people said it was a valid crash out, which it was. And obviously, some people somewhere thought that, because there's always some people who think everything. But who really amplified that into people's ears and made people think that was the general consensus? Well, I'll tell you who. It's not a surprise. It's those stupid news coverage, drama, commentary channels. It's always been them. That's what this whole video is really about. Well, I mean, it's about all of them, but they are the ones who are causing all of this. People like ALMAO and a bunch of obvious content farms like The Digital Void, Circus Master, etc. These people literally stalk the accounts of the creators and all the voice actors to find anything they can possibly make a video about. And when there's nothing interesting to cover, of course they're going to take some random disagreement and blow it way out of proportion. ALMAO has even gotten death threats sent to a teenager, which almost made them take their own life, by misconstruing Michael Kovac as being uncomfortable with their posts, when really he was just trying to avoid adding more fuel to the war between headcanons. He then of course took zero responsibility for this, even though he's the one who made it reach the audience that it did. His audience is consisting purely of gossip-loving freaks. But it's not only drama-centric content that does this. All of these commentary channels have caused this, because The Amazing Digital Circus was never supposed to be a big mystery. There was never supposed to be a huge focus on tiny little details predicting the future and some big plot twist like all of these channels have been treating it as if there was. And this has indirectly caused, like, I am a big theorist guy, and I have my own Digital Circus theory that is completely out there that I'm working on, but sometimes people go too far when it comes to analyzing things and looking for secrets, because during the last episode, people went and found the location from Jax's flashback, acting like there was some sort of ARG or whatever, and luckily nothing came from that. But it still goes without saying that doxing some random neighborhood is ridiculous. Like, even with episode 6, like, if you don't believe that the entire episode was a setup by Kane, people will say you're stupid. Like, just because it shot down a lot of theories doesn't mean that you have to take everything at face value. All in all, none of this would have unfolded the way it did if people didn't act like The Amazing Digital Circus was the most hype thing since sliced bread. It doesn't need news 24/7. It doesn't need your insane predictions. It doesn't need any of it. All the way back to the popular thing equals bad and UTTP harassment, this fandom has been destroying itself by trying to defend itself when you could just say nothing. Back to the recent topic. It is also sad to see Goose Works not only being overly self-conscious about the show being good when it's clearly very good, but also acting as if this was a matter of unprofessionalism. Like, and of course the people who totally care about this situation had to squeeze out one last piece of misinformation. Even if Goose Works made the brash decision of quitting development on Digital Circus, there's no way it would get cancelled. Glitch basically needs the money that it makes in order to continue funding indie animation. And the scripts have already been set in stone by this point. The only thing that would really change is the music. Oh, turns out it's even better. This post that everyone was freaking out about Goose Works canceling the show literally was not even related to this harassment. This was literally just Goose Works saying there's no plans to continue with the show after it's over. Great job, guys. So different people showed up from the indie sphere and decided to give different responses and words of encouragement. And Vivzy Pop shows up completely uninvited, definitely not making 6 different posts about this, definitely not only talking about herself. And also try to make it a sexism thing for some freaking reason, because we definitely need more controversy. The creators of Garten of Banban have talked about extensively how much hate mail they've gotten and how much harassment, and they're both men, and this is not even the same situation because, Vivzy, you get hate because you are completely insufferable and work with very questionable people. Some people decided to take this as an opportunity to then direct the hate towards Vivzy Pop, which is just a complete waste of time. Again, she has no relation to this. Just pretend she's not even there. So luckily, Glitch themselves actually gave a pretty good response, reminding people that no, the entire fan base is not crawling with people like this. The most of the people are completely ordinary people. And as we've seen in this video, it's not even the rabid fan base that are responsible for it half the time. It's been instigated by people behind the scenes who, and yes, it is still their fault, the fault of the people who do ridiculous things at the end of the day, but these people are being fed an endless line of garbage from people who just want to take advantage of them to make money. So I think this whole thing just proves why Jax needs to get the spotlight he's getting, because to some small extent Gooseworks is still responsible for a lot of this, but which is happening because of this funny gremlin persona she's taken on to respond in these ways, which keep causing people to flip out for no reason. And that is exactly what is being portrayed through Jax, just with different means. So you might be wondering, why am I covering this if it's pretty much resolved itself? Well, 1, I'm really slow, and 2, this is far from the first time this has happened. It's not going to be the last until somebody finally addresses what's actually causing the hysteria. And maybe, by some miracle, gets one of these clowns to actually reevaluate the content they post.